The Secrets of Technology is brought to you by the StarQuest Production Network and is made possible by our many generous patrons. If you'd like to support the podcast, please visit GiveStarQuest.com. Hi, I'm Dom Bettinelli, and you're listening to The Secrets of Technology, where we discuss the technology news that's important to you from a uniquely Catholic point of view. Joining me today on the panel are Pat Scott. Hey, Pat.
Hello.
And Father Andrew Kinstetter. Hey, Father.
Hello there.
So today's topic, we're going to be talking about the last affordable computer upgrade. We've had Ramageddon, we've had the hard drive apocalypse, whatever you want to call the GPU and CPU thing. Yep. But the last thing the last computer upgrade that's fairly affordable is your monitor. And even if you're using a laptop, having a desktop monitor, a nice large screen or two, depending on your computer, could be a really nice upgrade. Be a nice way to. My philosophy is you can never have too much monitor real estate.
Yes. I've got some of my clients that are in retirement centers. They don't have the room for those, but right. I understand.
Right. if you can afford it, if you can, like, it's just, it's never, it's like you can't have too much money, be too beautiful. You can't have too much monitor real estate.
Right.
So let's talk about this and why we're talking about it now is, in addition to it being the last affordable thing you can talk about, is also that display technology has really come a long way in the last few years. There's been a lot of upgrades, and the prices are pretty affordable even yet. You've got OLED that's it's mainstream now, and OLED, we'll talk about why that's good. And the connections are basically, you get your HDMI, your display port, and newer versions of those are giving us more bandwidth, which means better, screen resolutions and that sort of stuff. And then, we have the USB-C docking stations for laptops that make it, a one-stop shop for connecting and, charging and connecting your peripherals and all that sort of stuff. So it really is a really good time for monitors at the moment. So most people buy monitors like once every 5 to 8 years. I mean, that's generally the statistic is most people have them. And it's really hard to shop for. Have you noticed how hard it is to shop for monitors? Like, you have these ridiculous product codes, and like the same manufacturer will have 3 different 27-inch LCD displays that look exactly the same, but they're different because one sold at Costco and one sold at Walmart and one is sold at Best Buy. And you're like, well, what's the difference? Well, should I get one or the other? And it's hard to figure out, like, what are all these specs, and will it make a difference for me? And that's really the big thing. What do you guys have separate desktop monitors, I assume, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you have relatively new ones or ones that have been around a while? What do you have on your desk, Father?
I'm trying to think when I bought these. I think I've had so I have a 2-monitor setup, and I think I've had them for, I think it was roughly 2021, 2022 when I bought them. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I went to Best Buy and was like, what size do I need? And exactly. I kind of knew the range. And then, okay, what's the prices? And I need 2 of them. So they need to, and I made sure to get 2 exactly the same monitors, because when I have those next to each other,
yes,
the symmetry, the flow between the 2 of them, it's much nicer. But yeah, that was, it was just, I went to Best Buy and
Pick 2 of the same size.
Picked what I saw and liked. Yeah.
Price and size is how most people buy their monitors these days. And I mean, that's a common, because it's so confusing, all the different acronyms and numbers and specs and all that sort of stuff. And I tried to, when I bought my monitors, I wanted to get some pretty high. I wanted to get the nice high resolution. I'm a Mac guy, so I need, it has to be Retina screen or whatever Apple calls it, right? Another confusing acronym. So what's changed since 2022, 2023? That's really what we're looking at is the last 3 or 4 years. So, like I said, OLED monitors went from niche, expensive to pretty widely available. That's a lot of monitors out there that. And then HDMI 2.1 and DisplayPort 2.1 really change what's possible with high refresh rates and high resolution simultaneously. We'll explain why that's important. But so the hope is that after this episode, you'll know which 3 or 4 specs actually make a difference for your particular use case. And different people, you're different, as always, how you use it makes a difference from which one you get. Some people need different things. And the biggest, there are 2 problems you could do. You could buy one that's not a good enough monitor for what you need to use it for. But an equally bad outcome is you buy too much monitor for what, and you waste it and you don't need it. So we're trying to find the sweet spot on this. So the first thing people talk about besides size, because size is nice things. So like, you want to get a nice big monitor. Most monitors these days are like the middle range is probably like 27 inches. I would say. I think that's pretty general. A lot of people will still get 24s, but a
lot of my clients,
a 24 is nice for a compact space. You don't have a lot of extra need for that. But I think 27 for most people is a nice sweet spot. There are bigger monitors, 32 and up, and they're curved and all kinds of stuff like that. But those are more specialized. But so I think 27 is the right place. And so then the question is how many pixels? And that's a big difference in that, because pixel density is really the question that you want to approach. You can get, generally it's a lot of numbers that sound a lot like TVs, 1080, 1440, which is a sort of middle range, and 4K. Sometimes 1440 is called QHD and 4K will be called UHD. Like, I don't know what the Q is for, but the U is ultra.
Ultra high def.
Yeah, and the Q is like quality high def. I don't know. Some marketing term.
I've seen a lot of 1680s too. But
that's a new one, and that gives you the ones that are a little bit like more landscape, more movie, 16:9 shape. You'll get, or that's even more wider. The 1680. So and so that number of pixels is fine, but you also you got to combine it with the size of the monitor. And so if you get a 27-inch monitor, 1440 is pretty good. At 4K for a 27-inch monitor, then you start to get you're starting to look at real sharpness in text, and especially for smaller text and photo and video editing and that sort of stuff. But to push 4K, you need a strong GPU and CPU. So that's a big part of the equation. Is what computer are you using to drive it? What graphics card or CPU are you using to drive it? And it needs to be able to handle that. So I recently bought a small monitor a few weeks ago, we did an episode on family display boards, like status boards. And so I went out and bought the DAC board CPU thing, and I put up a little monitor in the dining room, and now it has all of our cool stuff on it, our family status stuff. And I'm like, it doesn't need to be, I got a very inexpensive 1080. Like, what's the least expensive 1080 that I could get that I could feel confident in? I ended up getting a Dell, which is not a bad brand name. Dell actually makes pretty good monitors.
Yeah, they do.
And it was like $100 for a 24-inch 1080 Dell. And so that was perfectly fine. But I'm not going to use a 24-inch 1080 monitor for my day-to-day work. That would be too fuzzy, too small. So you really have to, think about, what is my computer able to push, and that sort of thing. So that's a big aspect of it. Then refresh rate is the next thing. So refresh rate measures how often the pixels get repainted, re-energized. Mm-hmm. And it's measured in hertz, and it's 240 hertz is like the high end now, but 60 is what most office computers would use. You really only need 240 if you're a gamer.
Yeah. I mean, even the Xbox Series X console and I think the PS5 does it as well. I mean, most of the games run at 60 hertz.
Yeah.
And like you can, a lot of them, the newer ones especially, will run at 120 hertz.
Right.
I mean, so yeah, 240 is real smooth. But yeah, for high-end gaming, that would be really the only reason you want that.
Or video editing, things like that, where you're doing stuff that really push the video. Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. For most people, if you wanted a little upgrade, 120 would be the upgrade from 60. And yeah, it looks smooth when you drag the big difference, like you drag a window across the screen. Does it get all, fuzzy, or does it stay the same? Like sometimes you go into the store and you're like, ooh, look at that. Like I'm moving the window for the browser across the screen here, and it's like jitter. It's like, oh yeah, that's not buttery smooth. Right. Jittery. Yeah.
But how often do you really need the buttery smooth?
Right. I don't need it. Not for what I do. And so, because to get the 27-inch like I have, and I think it's a 4K at like 240, we're talking, that's a lot more money. We're talking thousands. Like that's like a $2,000 monitor. Or you get the 60 or 120, and now you're like at a third of the price. You're down to like $400, $500 for a 4K monitor that big. And you don't even have to get 4K. You can get, less expensive than that. So, you're paying a lot more for
a little bit of difference.
A little bit. Right. Exactly. I mean, again, if you're a gamer, you've spent thousands of dollars on the computer already. And, I'm just going to stipulate the Apple monitors are amazing and way overpriced for almost everybody.
Yeah, I have a client who got a $6,000 Apple monitor, but he's got macular degeneration, and he wanted the best possible.
Well, and he can afford it.
He can afford it. Yeah,
exactly. So that, and hey, I will never take that away from anyone. But I mean, I wish I could afford it, because that would be an amazing monitor. But yeah, for most people listening, that's not going to be what you're going to get.
Right.
So. And then this thing, you'll hear things like response time and refresh rate, but they're slightly different specs, but not super important to distinguish it. If you need to distinguish it, already. Let me put it that way. Just pay attention to refresh rate. That's really the number that most people are going to need to pay attention to. You'll see the term HDR applied to monitors, and that's mostly marketing. It's HDR is like Energy Star rated. It sort of designates a bunch of different specs, that meet a certain base standard combined. And so, if a monitor is called HDR, it usually has higher peak brightness, wider color gamut, ideally has local dimming, as in, dimming in particular areas on the screen. And those can be useful for particular people, but it's not super useful for most people. And then there's the Visa, it's the industry group. They have a certification process and all kinds of stuff like that. I don't need to get into it, but there's some things like for OLEDs, they grade whether they give true black. That's one of the benefits of OLED displays, is the blacks are really black and not just sort of gray. If you look at your monitor and you have like a black background or something like that, sometimes it just looks kind of gray. Whereas the OLEDs good ones can get really black. So if you see, display HDR 400, that's one of the grades. That's pretty basic. That's meaningless. Basically, it's just every monitor could meet that standard. If it's a monitor, it's display HDR 400. There's 600 plus display HDR 600 plus, or true black 400 plus. The 600 plus is a grade for LCDs. The 400 plus is the grade for OLEDs, and that's where it starts to make a difference. But again, for most people, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
The big difference,
and on TVs, wasn't HDR a big improvement over the previous technology? And I think that's why they're using it.
Right. Because people know, like, there was the whole Game of Thrones debacle, the final season, where there was one scene and it was so dark and muddy that people couldn't tell what was going on in the scene, and that kind of highlighted for people, oh yeah, like it makes a difference having these gradations, and a lot of TV shows and movies are kind of being filmed in these weird, the lighting is weird, or they're requiring, for you to be able to see it properly, they're requiring a lot higher quality of a monitor. And so it became a big deal in TVs to have these higher qualities, these HDR certifications. And and you're right. I think they're trying to move those into monitors so that people
pay more.
Right. So people think, oh, I had to get HDR for my TV. Now I need to get it for my monitor, because a monitor is more important than a TV, right?
Well, if you're going to watch a bunch of movies on your monitor, though, and some people, use their monitors as if
that's your TV,
yeah,
then you may want to spend the extra money on getting the higher HDR rating. That's true. That's true. I know people who don't own a regular TV; they watch everything on their computer. Mm-hmm. I mean, these days, everything's streaming anyway, so that's a possibility.
And I've had the opposite, where people go get a TV and use it as a monitor, and quite frankly, the resolution is awful.
Oh, so fuzzy. I sometimes use my TV, my 4K TV, as like an auxiliary monitor. I have it hooked up to a headless Mac that I keep in here sometimes, and then when I need to do something to it, I turn the TV on and switch it to that. And it's just like, oh my gosh,
it's so grainy. It really is. And I don't know how they do that every day.
Yeah. I mean, it's big.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but it's not clear.
But it's not clear. No. Yeah. So you're right. And so yeah, this is why monitors are so much more expensive than TVs for the size, because monitors are much more higher pixel density and clearer and sharper than a TV ever has to be. So one of the big things you really have to think about is OLED versus LCD, which is also sometimes called mini LED. So OLED is, or organic LED is what it stands for, organic light emitting diode. The pixels are self-lit. They are the color that comes from the pixel itself, and they have true per pixel black, which is they give deep blacks, and they have near instant response time. So you get your best contrast and your best clarity, motion clarity. Again, when you're moving things around, things are moving on the screen, they don't blur. But OLED costs more. Okay, LCD or mini LED. You don't get a burn-in risk with those anymore. The burn-in is not really a thing these days, more or less. Some will dispute that, but that's for specific situations.
That's why we had screensavers back in the day.
Exactly. Yes, yeah. The old tube displays would get awful burn-in.
I miss those screensavers.
the old the flying toasters and
the pipes that would 3D throughout the screen.
Yep. The lawnmower man. Yep. I still love those. What was the flying toaster? That was from flying. There was from a particular
that used that.
Yeah. Doing the old guy. Remember that thing when I was a kid?
I remember them even on a Mac.
Yeah, they were on a Mac. Yep.
Yeah.
So the big thing with LCD is they have higher sustained full screen brightness. So brightness is their thing. They're also lower price. So they're a lot lower than an OLED. And they're better in bright rooms or bright locations. So if you have a sunny room that you need to put a monitor in or something like that you'd be an LCD would be good for that. OLEDs would be fine, but they're not as good. Put it that way. There are some concerns about burn-in, but they're minor concerns. It's the way most people use their computers these days. You don't have to really worry about burn-in. It's not an issue. But if you leave your monitor on with the same thing sitting on it for days and hours and hours and days, yeah, you're gonna have you're going to have artifacting and burn-in. So just don't do that.
Turn your monitor off automatically turn off anyway.
Yeah, let it go to sleep or whatever. So the recommendation in general, yes, or have a screensaver, right? I do a screensaver just because I like the way it looks. The main recommendation is if you're making movies or watching movies, or if you're gaming or doing work where color is important, and you in an environment where you can control the lighting, you don't have like super bright fluorescent lights right above you, then an OLED is probably your best bet. If you are working a bright office, you're doing productivity tasks most of the time, or you're budget conscious, then mini LED and sometimes you see IPS. Those are less expensive, and those are good for that sort of thing. So that's one of the specs you really want to pay attention to. That's a decision point for you which one you want to get. And then connectivity is important. And this is a thing I was talking to someone the other day. They're like, "Oh, I saw this monitor at a yard sale. I didn't know if I should get it if it will work with my computer." And I'm like, well, the big question there, they describe it, and so I'm sure it would work. They didn't want anything special. But what's the cable?
Yeah, what connectors does it have?
Yes, the connector that's on the back of it. What does the end of that look like, and does it match anything on your computer? That's the big question. And he was like, "Oh, it's $10. They're selling it for $10. It's worth trying, see if it works."
And there are adapters, but they don't always work properly. But
exactly.
but yeah, there's VGA to HDMI and DisplayPort to HDMI, etc.
Right, and these are the three big connectors you're going to see today are HDMI, DisplayPort, and USB-C.
I still see a lot of the DVI on a lot of the older my older monitor, older clients. Yeah,
and a lot of monitors will have multiple kinds of outputs, right? Like I think one of mine right here is it's HDMI, it's got a DVI, and it's got DisplayPort. I think those are the three it offers.
Hopefully they don't have VGA anymore, but a lot of my clients still have good old VGA monitors.
Those are some pretty old monitors if they do. Yeah,
yes, 10 years old. Yeah.
Yeah. They've
got
been
one
around.
Right here hooked up to my Windows 95.
Yes. Well, that's all the display will do for it.
Yep.
VGA, yeah. Oh, I remember setting dip switches on VGA adapters.
Oh no, that I don't remember.
Oh, it was a Mac thing. You had in order to use
I do remember.
Monitors.
Yeah, and if you didn't have the switch right, it wasn't going to show anything.
Yep. We are in a better time now. It's a much better time. So if you got HDMI, that's it gives a lot of throughput, but there are limitations in HDMI, including ones related to copy protection. Some things that you can't because of the motion picture industry copy protection, it can cause issues with playback of certain things.
I've forgotten about that.
Yeah, and I have had an issue with my Mac Studio connected to this monitor. Every once in a while, a couple times a day at most, the screen will just go black for 3, 4, 5 seconds, and then it comes back. I don't know why. It just does it. And this is actually the second monitor I've got. This is a different monitor. It still does it. Like I replaced the last one that was doing it, and I thought it because it was the monitor. Nope, different brand, different everything. Still does it. Don't know why.
It's HDMI,
but I think it's because I'm connecting it via HDMI.
Yeah.
So that may be just me and my computer. I don't know. So I'm not going to say that's a common thing, but it's something I've experienced. An HDMI can do some pretty high throughput. It can send a lot of data through it, do some of the higher resolutions, the higher refresh rates. And then DisplayPort is another connector which can also do that. And it does a lot of throughput, a lot of really good refresh rates. The practical rule of thumb is DisplayPort is best for like PC monitors and anything where you have color critical, where color is really important, where you need high refresh rates, like you're doing video or photo editing. HDMI is really best for when it's a TV, or a game console or an audio video receiver. you can use it with a computer. Like you can. I think that's how I'm connecting my daughter's new MacBook Neo to the monitor.
In fact, it's actually the most easily to work on most devices, because most computers have an HDMI and most monitors have an HDMI. Sometimes you don't get the other combinations.
Right, exactly. So sometimes it's what you have to take. But USB-C with DisplayPort is that can be really nice, because it means you're carrying video, data, and power over one cable. And that enables your laptop, connect it and you're good to go with one cable. You don't have to connect 3 or 4 cables or have a special docking station or something like that. You can really just put your laptop down on the desk, connect one cable, and you're good. And that's really nice. So there are some monitors that allow this. And then the monitor itself will have USB-C ports off the back usually, or USB-A even, and you connect the peripherals that way.
And you have to be careful, because sometimes there are 3 of the USB-C looking things on the back, and only one of them will work for the monitor. I had that experience.
Right. You got to look very carefully at the icons.
Symbol. Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes they're the same color as the plastic of the back of the monitor. I don't know why. No one's looking at the back of the monitor anyway, so it's not like it needs to look nice. Just make it easy to see. I don't understand the manufacturer sometimes. Like, oh, it has to blend. No, the whole point of a symbol is to see it. I think I ranted about this last week about Apple and the lack of symbols on the ports on their laptops. Like, put a symbol on it. Let me know if that's which
one's power.
You can only connect the power or a monitor cable to one and not the other. And yeah. Anyway, color accuracy, not as important for most people as sometimes they make you think. Again, if you're doing video or audio work, video or photo work, color doesn't matter for audio, video or photo work, unless you have synesthesia, artistic work,
or
that sort of stuff.
Words.
Yeah, right. Most monitors, sRGB is going to be what for most people, that's fine for you. You'll be fine with that. If you need,
I think some artists try to match the monitor to what they're seeing on a printer, that kind of thing, but that's very, very unusual.
Yeah. And again, if you need that, you need that. So it's usually the case. That's like the Adobe RGB or DCI P3, those sort of things. There's all kinds of jargon about measuring color. I'm not going to get into it. That's the
calibration.
Yeah, there's all kinds of calibration stuff like that. I mean, honestly, nowadays, most of the factories are doing pretty good calibration at the factory. Your default settings are pretty good. Like the monitor I get now came with a special dial that I could, churn and to adjust it to different things. It's in a drawer somewhere. That's not the kind of work I'm doing. I don't need that. And I would accidentally hit the thing on my desk and then it would switch and I'm like, so I'm like, nope, you go in a drawer. So if you're a photo or video editor, you're a designer, you do print work, sure. But if you do gaming or office work, you don't need calibrated accuracy in your color. So it's not something you really need to worry about. Ergonomics, how it sets up on your desk is important. I almost always tell people a good monitor arm that's articulated is always going to be better than the stand it comes with. I almost always, if I get a monitor, I put it on an arm, and that way I can move it around easy. I can move it out of the way when I need to, get behind it or turn it easily, and it's in the air. And I just prefer that way, and it keeps the desk clear and all that sort of stuff. And monitor arms are not that expensive these days. The ergonomic recommendations are basically you're supposed to keep the monitor 20 to 40 inches from your face. I think mine is about that far, 20 inches at most. It might be a little closer. This one, I guess, the top of the screen should be at or slightly below eye level. I
like it up higher than that.
Yeah, mine is. I'm basically looking at the middle of the screen. I get why they say that. I mean, you want to keep your neck we often are craning our necks back, although so many of us are on our phone all the time, so our necks are craned forward. So it's sort of
you need just to bust them of both.
Yeah, that's right. Spend equal amounts of time looking up at your monitor and down at your phone. That's my ergonomic recommendation, but I'm not a doctor, so don't listen to me. It should be the brightest light source. The brightest light source in the room, should be to the side, not behind it, and not not behind you or not behind the monitor. And that's like a lot of people have their computers like they're sitting in front of the window, and the computer's like sort of in the monitors in front of the window.
It's
and
hard to see that.
It's not great for your eyes to do that. Your best bet is to turn your desk and have the window to your side, and then you can look out the window. You know what I mean? Like that's actually much better. Like you can look out a window and see the birds and the trees and your neighbor mowing the lawn in his short shorts. Oh,
well, in addition to the arm, because the arm takes up a lot more space on your desk, doesn't it?
Yep.
So a lot of my clients, what I'm recommending is the ones where it goes up and down and tilts and rotates.
Yes.
And Dell has a lot of those good stands like that. Some of the others are real cheap.
Instead of an articulated arm, it's like one pole in the back that it attaches to, and it does allow it to go up and down and turn left and right. Yeah.
And it will tilt up or down, depending upon what you're doing.
Yes, exactly. That's definitely a good option.
And cheaper.
Yes. I suppose if I didn't have my computer on my desktop here because of my Mac Studio, I would lower my monitor a little bit. I think there's something to be said for that, but I get stuff down here and my iPad's here and that sort of stuff. So, it's something to say for that. But, you want to have height adjustment, tilt and swivel. It'll say Visa mount compatible, but that, you want to make sure the adjustability will be there, that it allows for more.
Look for more than just up and down or just solid.
Yeah, exactly. So a laptop only setup can be an issue for that ergonomic issue because that laptop screen is down and you get your head bent all the time.
Unless you can raise it up, and then it's hard for you to type.
Right. And we talked a few weeks ago about having like the laptop stands that sit up high and then having a keyboard that you can use. Leo and I were talking about that, like for remote work. But you could get one of those for your desk and put your laptop on that and have a keyboard and have the laptop next to a monitor, and then you get more monitor space, just with your laptop open. I mentioned there are some monitors that allow for docking or all-in-one solutions. So we'll have a built-in USB hub and an Ethernet port, and maybe sometimes even like a KVM switch, so you can have you can use your keyboard, mouse, and monitor to control multiple computers at once if you wanted. And they would all be one USB-C Thunderbolt cable connecting it. So that's really nice. Like it's a really nice convenience if you're a laptop person. But you pay more for that. So, there's always the trade-off. So let's talk about some specific specs for different people. If you're everyday office work or browsing, mostly a 1440 IPS monitor, 75 to 100 hertz refresh rate. You don't need to worry about HDR. Prioritize your ergonomics. And if you're using a laptop, thinking about that docking USB-C port. If you're mainly into gaming, 1440 to 4K, you start thinking about that 4K. You want to start looking at that higher refresh rate, the 144 to 240, depending on your GPU. Make sure your GPU can push that. OLED, if your budget allows it, and the lighting is controlled. You're going to want to be one of those gamers in the dark room, or like me right now. I get my dark room where I'm recording. And you'll want a DisplayPort connection because it gives you that it supports the higher refresh and resolution. If you're a photo, video, color work, artist sort of person, you need 4K. You need wide gamut with a real factory calibration report in the box, right? That's what really sets those monitors apart. Like they've calibrated and they get a report in the box for you. And then if you're budget conscious, 1080p, 1440p IPS is a good thing to go. Skip the HDR and the OLED. Stick with the LCD. Spend the savings on a proper stand or arm for the ergonomics. So your three things, the three specs that we promised that you want that actually matter: for the average listener is resolution, panel type, that's the OLED versus LCD, and refresh rate. Resolution and panel type are one thing. That's how I get it there. So, is it 1440 IPS? Is it 4K OLED? So that's one. Refresh rate is something to pay attention to. The connectivity, the kind of cable that connects to your device, and the ergonomics. Those are the 3 to 4 things. Refresh rate is not applicable to everyone, so that's why I say 3 to 4.
The only thing I would add there is that for people with very small space, then you got to say whether I want the 24, because 20s are way too small.
Yeah.
But 24 or 27, and a lot of my clients are beginning to have vision problems. And so therefore the 27 definitely makes more sense for them.
Right.
But they're probably not going to go the 30, whatever.
Right. The 27 with the lower resolution that makes everything bigger on the screen.
Yeah.
It would help a lot.
That's where it seems to fit with most of my aging clients.
We're starting to get to the point where there are so few of these smaller monitors on the market that they're getting more expensive.
Yeah, I had somebody that just wanted a 20-inch, and we had a hard time trying to find one because they were for specialty things, for specialty like monitoring in a control room where you've got all these monitors looking at different video cams, et cetera.
Exactly. Yeah, the NSA buys all those up for all the stuff that they use to monitor the rest of us.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So we're going to have a ton of links in the show notes for all the different articles about monitors and particular brands, particular models to look at that are pretty good. So be sure to check those out, and we'll get all that in there. So that's monitors today. It's the still affordable computer upgrade that you can get.
Just a comment is that I've had really, really good luck with Dell monitors, and they seem to last better, and they seem to be good, solid quality. And most of my clients like them. There's other brands out there. There's LG and a whole bunch of other ones, ViewSonic, et cetera. But the Dell seems to be a good price for a really good monitor. Yeah,
a lot of offices will buy like a whole bunch of Dells. I mean, they're really good, solid monitors.
Whether they've got a Dell computer or not, it doesn't matter.
The brand of monitor has nothing to do with the computer that you get. I've seen Macs with Dell monitors on them. But I've had good luck with LG and BenQ, both of those. In fact, I think
LG I've used. I hadn't had the BenQ before.
In fact, I think both of my monitors are BenQ monitors now. They just
ViewSonic used to be really good too, but I haven't seen them in a while.
Yeah, ViewSonic was really good back when they were still the tubes. Those and the Sonys were big then.
You see, I don't think Sony does monitors
anymore. It takes me back. All right, so that's monitors. We'll move on to our headlines in a second, but first I want to take a moment to thank our patrons who make it possible for us to create the secrets of technology, including Veronica C., Kathy S., Bill L., Tom L., and Terry T. Their generous donations at GiveStarQuest.com make it possible for us to continue the secrets of technology and all the shows at StarQuest. And you can join them by visiting GiveStarQuest.com. If we've saved you money in any way, maybe you can donate a little of the savings. So both of our headlines have to do with Sony. Sony being bad. Let's start with the first one. Pat, you shared this headline. This was in Wired. Sony erases digital content from libraries. A reminder that you don't own what you buy.
And we've heard that a lot on this podcast.
Right.
But here it is practically in the real world.
Yes. Yeah. So here's the situation. Come September, some PlayStation customers will no longer be able to access certain purchased movies and shows. Because they are the production and distribution, the distribution agreement that Sony has with a particular production company is expiring. They haven't renewed it yet, and so the certain movies, if you bought Rambo 3 or Terminator 2, among others, Paddington 2, you will no longer be able to. They'll disappear from your device. Even if you've downloaded them, they will go away. This is it's not as big of a deal in the sense of they had stopped selling these a while ago. Like these are for people who've had them for a while. Like Sony had got rid of this ability to buy movies on their PlayStations, apparently, according to the article. But nevertheless, these are it's essentially you are renting the movies when you quote unquote buy them.
You have a license to use them, and that's it.
You're buying a license to use them indefinitely until they decide not to let you do it anymore.
That's sort of the inherent thing with any digital content you buy.
Right. And this
is not guaranteed. Yeah.
This is why I don't buy Kindle books from Amazon like I used to. If I can avoid it, I buy Kobo books and they download them in EPUB format and back them up because I've bought them. And, I've paid for the privilege to have it, and I'm going to keep it. And you can't take it away from me now. That's my thing, and I'm sticking to it. But you can't do that as easily with other content. So it's, I don't know. You keep hearing this thing from the World Forum, the World Economic Forum. This whole in the future you won't own anything and you'll be happy. And I'm not sure I'd be happy about that. You'll pay for stuff over and over again because we've changed the format, and so now you need to rebuy it. I don't think this is what our forefathers imagined with copyright and patents and that sort of thing. So
you buy a plow and somebody comes in and takes it away from you for a while because the license is no longer good.
Well, actually, you talk to farmers, and sometimes that happens with their tractors. Like the software or whatever, the license expires and the tractor won't run. It's where we are now, and I just, nobody likes it, but this is what we're dealing with. But I feel like I'm less likely to buy movies and that sort of stuff from online stores if I can avoid it. I'll just rent it, from them, unless it's nearly the same price. If it's like $3.99,
I think if it's a long-term rental, if I purchase it, I just figured that just saves me from renting it multiple times.
Exactly. This is a long-term lease.
Well, and I think that leads into your second article. Like there are ways in which we can influence what companies like Sony are going to do. Yeah.
Right. And that's right. So let's move to the second headline, because this is I think one that has a bigger impact on more people. Yeah. Sony has also, with their PlayStation, said they're phasing out physical media for the games, for the games. So you'll only be able to buy digital versions. You will not be able to buy disc-based versions, which means that if they decide to stop letting you play it, they can stop making. Like if you own a disc and you own the machine today, you can play it for as long as you want. If you have an old Windows machine from 15, 20 years ago and the discs with the games that you played on it, you can still play them. They still exist. But that opportunity will not be the same in the future, because they're taking away that ability to do those things.
Well, and collectors that like to collect games or trade games, or like to build up their collection, just like of DVDs, just like instead of renting them. Mm-hmm. That's really making people angry.
And people, the creation of games or movies, these are an art form, and these art forms are being lost. These pieces of art are being lost because they're not being maintained, because people aren't being allowed to have access. And, the company that made it goes out of business. So who owns the rights to distribute it? Well, nobody knows. It's a legal gray area. So we're not distributing it anymore digitally. If you've got it on a disc, that doesn't matter. But if it's a digital distribution, that makes a big difference.
And if the players don't have any way to play a CD or
right. Yeah, you could keep one, an old one, keep it around. But yeah, so thousands of gamers are rising up against this decision by Sony, and they're voting with their pocketbooks. They're canceling their PlayStation Plus subscriptions, organizing boycotts against upcoming A-class games that are coming out, including the Marvel Wolverine video game coming out, which I feel bad for the people producing it, but people don't feel they feel powerless. They feel like there's no other way for us to get the change that we want than to hit them in the pocketbook.
Well, and somebody that had been researching it told me that Microsoft with the Xbox is headed that way too, to eliminate the physical media.
Yeah.
I think they're all kind of heading that way. I think Nintendo said something to the effect of they were always going to keep some sort of physical media. But even then, I think that the biggest challenge with the modern games is that they're so massive and there's always updates and stuff. So, I mean, even if you have the CD of a game, nowadays, they've already released updates to it that even when you plug it into your PlayStation, you're going to have to download an update anyway.
Right. And
unless you're playing an old, PlayStation 1 or a Super Nintendo where the game is complete on the cartridge and that's it.
Right. Right.
And
yeah. A lot of
so
these
it's more convenient for them to move to digital. But yeah, it's you've got all the collectors and I mean just I've said it before, we're incarnational. And so there's something that we like about the physicality of books, of even movie cases and video game cases.
Right. There's something about being able to look at them. When I turn and look at my shelf full of Tolkien books, that it's a different than if I look at a listing on my computer of the titles. Like I like the convenience of an ebook, but there's something about holding a book and reading it that is different. Yep. I think we've passed the point that with the games, we've passed that with music essentially. I mean, almost nobody I know buys music on a disc or a record. Like there's still a niche market for these things, but it's niche. Most
Very
people
small.
Get their music via a streaming service.
And all those album covers that were so well designed and artistic, et cetera, they're kind of just a little postage stamp now on the tunes player.
Liner notes and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. And just laying out the albums on the floor with your friend and going through them. And I mean, we've lost
nostalgia.
Something. Yeah. We've lost something the way we experience. Look, we've also gained something. I don't want to dispute that. I can listen to millions of different pieces of music on demand. I have access to more music than I ever have in my life. But we've still kind of lost a little something. And so we have to recognize that. So those are our two Sony behaving badly headlines. At least Facebook, you tick the week off. And neither of these are AI related. So that's another thing that we've not done this week. All right. So those are our headlines. Let's move on to our picks of the week. Pat, why don't you go first? What is your pick this week?
This is silly, but when I go to sleep, sometimes I have trouble falling asleep, and I've used nature sounds and different things like that. Well, I ran into this week several places that have podcasts to help you go to sleep.
None of them are mine, are they?
No. They're designed to go to sleep.
Oh, okay.
And there's some of them, there's a whole bunch out there, but the ones that I thought were funny were the ones that read you the 1897 Sears and Roebuck sewing machine catalog. And they have a very dull reading voice, and you just drone along in the background but the one that I thought was really funny too was I live in Texas, and everybody knows about Marfa and the Marfa lights. Well, the Marfa public radio station has about 15 different go to sleep, listen to the how does the FCC regulate radio stations?
The Texas Administrative Code, read by Mitch.
Yeah.
A brief history of all things considered, read by Travis.
Yeah, they're hilarious. At any rate, the only one that I didn't feel like was appropriate to going to sleep was there was a thing about railway cars and traveling back in the 20s or whatever. It was too funny. I kept waking up.
It was too interesting.
Yeah,
that's funny. That's funny. That is an interesting idea. It's like reading the New York City phone book, basically.
Yeah, the phone book. Why not?
Yeah, that's fun. I like that. If you have trouble sleeping, this may be the thing for you. Excellent. Father, what's your pick this week?
So mine is very topic appropriate. My pick is the Hanoi Flow Lift. It's a dual monitor stand. So think of it's basically it's two arms that you would connect two monitors to, and then it's got a kind of like a C clamp that you would clamp it to your desk. And so that's what I am using in my home office here, and that's what I've got my two monitors hooked up to. And so the arms are, it's kind of like even what you were talking about. I mean, the arms are adjustable, and I can have my two monitors just, snug right next to each other and fit in the corner here of my room. And it works. It's
not flimsy. It's not floppy. Nope, it's just real stable.
It's in fact, I mean, I was surprised when I got it how heavy it was, because it's heavy. So it off balances any of the monitor's weight. And it works. It works great for what I've got it used for. And it's way better than the stands that it came with, because I couldn't quite position them the way that I wanted to, the way the desk and the corner of the room were working. And this just allowed me to snug right into the corner, and it works really well. If you've got a two monitor setup, it works for monitors anywhere between 13 and 32 inches. And it's on sale right now for about $50, but it normally runs about 70, I think, is what it is on Amazon.
That's a pretty good deal.
It's heavy.
So, yes.
Yeah. Heavy duty. Yeah. And they're usually adjustable. Like your different monitors weigh different amounts. So you have to adjust the tension when you get it.
Interesting.
And then,
I don't think this one I didn't have to do any of that with, but
if you had two monitors that were pretty close, I guess that would have helped it. Yeah.
I had to do that I got a monitor arm for my daughter's, the monitor I gave her. And I had to adjust it. It was like kept going down. So you have to like adjust the tension to get it to just the right amount so that it stays in place, easily movable. But once you adjust it for that particular monitor, it stays there, and it's pretty good. Excellent. Very good. My pick this week is an app in the App Store, the Apple App Store. It is designed for iPad, but it'll work on a Mac. But it's called Cassette Home Video Player. And we talk about, we remember, like, we like having the old media. This is a way to enjoy your home videos the old way. It looks like when you open it up, the cassette, the app, when you open it up, your videos look like they're like it's a video VHS player, and each individual video looks like a VHS video cassette.
So you're simulating the cassette. Yeah.
Yeah. And you select a cassette, and it goes into the video player, and it plays. This is ideal for anyone Gen X or older. This is a nostalgia play. It is a lot of fun. It's a cute way of organizing your home videos. My home videos are all scattered through my iPhoto library. I mean, it's just, or they're piled. I have a folder on my NAS with home videos from 5 different digital video cameras that predate my phone. It's like, it's all an unorganized mess. And something like this would be nice to just throw it in there, and and then just casually every once in a while just click on a different one and watch a different video and
randomize it.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. And it's I forget if there was a price for it. There are in-app purchases, but it's cheap. It's like you can get a lifetime for $3, for the app. You can give them a tip. You can pay them as much as 99 cents, as little as 99 cents. So, so it's a nice little app. It's worth checking out. And those are our picks of the week. And that's our show. We would love to hear from you. Any feedback you have, if you have some interesting thoughts on monitors, for instance, we'd love to hear from you. You can do that by sending us an email to technology@sqpn.com, or visit the StarQuest Discord community at sqpn.com/Discord. That's a great place to ask questions, by the way, if you have tech questions. You can find links from our discussion and our picks of the week on our show notes at starquest.fm/TEC352. And of course, you can find all our episodes at sqpn.com/technology. And if you have not yet done so, you can subscribe to the show in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, your favorite podcast app, or at the YouTube channel, youtube.com/StarQuestMedia, where you can like, comment, and subscribe. And reviews are very welcome and very helpful. as well as your recommendations to other folks. If you know someone who's in the market for a monitor, this would be a great episode to give them. And so until next time, Father Andrew Kinstetter, thank you for joining me and sharing the secrets of technology.
You're absolutely welcome.
Pat Scott, thank you as well.
It's been fun as always.
And once again, I'm Don Bettinelli. Thank you for listening to the Secrets of Technology on StarQuest. Here's another show on the StarQuest network you're sure to enjoy, Jimmy Akin's Mysterious World. Find the show wherever fine podcasts are found or at sqpn.com/mysterious.